welcome to the long-awaited book haul, the last book haul of the year. Welcome to another episode of Bookmas. Really missed all of you guys. I'm sitting on the floor because I have a heating pad. I'm a little under the weather, so I was laying here and then in front of my bookshelf. It's just not very comfortable and I can't have a heating pad, so this is kind of what we're going with today. This is the long-awaited book haul though I'm sure all of you guys have been waiting for. I have my little books here and I can't wait to show all of you guys. Also, side note, if I look a little different, I got my eyelashes taken off. They were bothering me and I'm sure a lot of you understand that struggle. I have a plethora of books in front of me. I'm very excited to show them to you. I don't really know where to start, to be honest. I picked up the Queen's Poisoner. This is book 1 in the King Fountain series that Jeff Wheeler bought. His whole world is like based off of I think 4 different book series, and all of them are interconnected. And you can read each series on their own. You don't have to mix them, but it's like highly encouraged by Jeff Wheeler to mix all of the books in his series together to read about his entire world. This is the start of it all. This follows a boy named Owen, and his dad was I think a general for the king's army. Something didn't work out very well, and either his dad needed to die or he had to give up his oldest son. Owen is now the oldest son. His oldest brother died, I think, in the war, and he's 9. So he's now taken basically as a ward to the king. This is where people are called fountain blessed, where the fountain will actually bless people with certain gifts. And the only way for Owen to survive is by pretending to be fountain blessed with seeing the future in convoluted ways, such as riddles. This is a really cute story. I remember reading this a long time ago on my Kindle, and I picked it up paper copy. This is a young adult, but it's also like very like war and an easy magic system to understand. There's love and friendships and betrayal and anything that you're looking for in a really nice fantasy. I highly recommend this, but I picked this up. Next book I picked up was A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is a dark academia fantasy. This school kills its students. It's kind of like a reaping, so to speak. Everyone can either is going there to learn magic, and so they can go find basically their little niche group, and the best way is to form alliances in the school, survive the school, then go out into the real world. The more you're growing into the year, the further down you get to graduation. At the very bottom there's a whole bunch of monsters called I think Maleficarum or whatever have you, and they kill and eat students. I think it has really good magic system involved. I like the dark academia aesthetic right now. I haven't read a single dark academia book at all this year, so I'm very excited to jump into this and see what the whole Skull and Mace world is about. I hope I said that right, but there's 3 books right now, so this is book 1. I really cannot wait to jump right into this. Clearly I'm a really big fantasy reader, so we'll just keep going. Okay, the next book that I picked up was The Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. This is I believe about a vampire hunter. I don't know if he's like a Geralt per se, but the entire world is dark. There's no sunlight anymore, and the humans have been fighting the vampires for a very long time now. I believe the humans are called the Silver Hands. They are the Silver Saints, and they go around killing vampires, but the thing is, the vampires are top of the food chain now, and humans are low on the totem pole. This, I believe, is the war against them. Other than that, I have really no idea what's in store for this book. All I know is that the back looks very interesting. I really like the cover of it. On the back of it, it says it's a dark fantasy, so that means that it's a little bit more morbid. There's a little bit more killing. There's a lot more going on than like a normal YA fantasy. So it says that this is actually a trilogy, so this is the first book. Good, because I don't think I could probably handle any more big series at the moment. But I'm very excited. Also, I just wanted to get over the fact, like, look how great and floppy this is. I love me a floppy book. The next book I picked up was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this already. I keep looking at it when I go to Barnes, at Target, anywhere, and I see how gorgeous this cover is, and I don't know why I keep saying no to it. Probably because of the hype about this book. I'm a very anti-hype girl. I don't like reading hyped books until they've died down a bit because I don't want my thoughts to be skewed by other people's opinions. But I waited for the hype to die down. This has been nominated as a Goodreads Choice Award, I think, of last year. We all know we don't trust the Goodreads awards though. This looks very exciting. Like I said, I love this cover. This is about two kids who grew up together and they make a video game together. I'm sure that's a little bit more than that going on in here. I know it's from childhood to adulthood, so we see them grow and change from the very beginning to the end of the book. I hear this is heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. There's a lot going on in here. This is a lot of people's 5-star reads. I'm very, very excited to jump into it finally. Probably more like next year, but this is very pretty. I like it quite a bit. Next book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble was For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. I don't know. I butcher names like no one's business, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, this is, I believe, a Red Riding Hood retelling. I don't know if there's any magic in this. All I know is that they're twins. The oldest was born by only, I think, a couple minutes, and the oldest becomes heir to the throne, and her twin sister, who's younger, is given to the wolf, I believe, as a sacrifice. I'm not really sure, but I guess it's also something kind of crazy. This is also a dark fantasy as well, so I'm sure there's gonna be a little bit more darkness involved. I'm kind of liking the dark fantasy era. It's like moody and gothic almost, so I'm very excited to check this out. This book in general, like the touch of it is really weird. I can't really place this like texture. This copy also has like a weird dust jacket situation as well, and the pages are like, I don't know how you would put it, like a scroll. I'm very excited to dive into this. I think this is also a trilogy as well. The Wilderwood, very cool, very interesting. I also love this cover. Another book I picked up was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This I've seen a lot at Target, at Barnes, half price, but for some reason I want to read it, but I'm not gravitated toward it as much as I think I am. It's such an obscure premise. Like, he's a magician and he can jump into different like dimensions or parallel universes of London, and I think each version of London has like a different form of magic. So they say they have red London, gray London, and white London, but there used to be a black London, but that's kind of it. I know this is a trilogy. Quite interested in seeing how this world works. It seems, like I said, it's kind of convoluted. I don't know how the whole jumping around thing is going to work with the parallel universes. I got the first book in this trilogy. I think at some point the magician ends up getting an assistant, so that seems pretty cool, and I will definitely be reading it next year. The last book I bought at Barnes was A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. The Divine Rivals was my favorite book, one of my favorite books this entire year. So knowing that she has another series that's out that's a little bit more folktale than historical fantasy, I couldn't wait to get it. This is a folktale-like fantasy. A boy returns home and a whole bunch of girls are going missing, and he has to find them. And doing that, I think he has to talk to the gods, do certain kinds of music. This is a duology, so this is the first book, and then she has her second book. I'm very excited to read this, but I probably won't read this until after the last book of Letters and Enchantment comes out. Then I'll probably end up reading this. At Half Price Books, I picked up a few books that have been on my radar. I found Too Late by Colleen Hoover. I'm not a huge Coho fan, but what I have found is I really like her dark books. Verity, I really enjoyed Verity, and then I saw she had another really dark book called Too Late. This came out this year, and this is about a girl named Sloane and I think her best friend or someone she knows is a drug trafficker, and she gets stuck in the middle of it, some sort of trafficking thing, and she gets taken and kidnapped, and she has to like fight her way out and survive this horrendous situation she's now put in. I know this is dark. I know this is not for everybody. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few trigger warnings in here, so I would definitely recommend looking into that first before you jump into one of her darker books. But I'm very excited to read this. I think her darker books are better written than her romance novels. Anyway, so I picked up Too Late. I'm very excited to read it. I like dark books, so we'll see if this one holds up to the standards I have in my head about how this is going to play out. Staying on the darker side, I found A Flicker in the Dark. This is about a girl named Chloe, and when she was younger, her dad went around kidnapping girls and murdering them. Now he's put into prison, and the murders are happening again. But she knows that her dad is still in prison. I like reading thrillers any time of the year. This seems very interesting. I also really like the cover of it. It's very moody. It's a very moody book. I don't know what it is about like dark blues and greens and yellows. Just looking really good on a book cover. Stephen King released another book this year, and I believe it was The Institute. I picked this up at half price also. This is about a boy. His name is Luke Ellis, and I believe he's special, and along with a lot of other kids inside of the Institute. Luke wakes up in this room that looks exactly like the one he grew up in, but his parents are no longer there because these strange men killed his parents, stuck him in a room, and keeps him at the place called the Institute. Not sure if this is like a X-Men situation where a whole bunch of kids are being like tested on, but the premise sounds really interesting. It sounds like a psycho thriller. Hopefully I'll have like a whole video at some point next year dedicated to Stephen King, but I'm very excited to jump right into this. My last thriller that I picked up was A House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This one is probably one of the coolest premises I've seen so far from a Riley Sager book, and it's about this woman lives okay, I don't know if it's like a woman herself or like her and her husband, but they see another couple who live across the lake from them, and she finds them peculiar. Like the wife is kind of strange, the husband's kind of weird. Mysteriously, the husband dies, and it's just the wife. I think this is like the whole story of what the heck is going on in this house. We actually really do not know what's going on in that house. So I am very, very excited to read this. I like trying to figure out mysteries, but I also really like being spooked in the perfect suspenseful way. And I hear Riley Sager is like the perfect one to do that. So as well as getting one V.E. Schwab book at Barnes & Noble, I picked up another V.E. Schwab at half price, and this is The Invisible Life of Addie Laroo. This is a standalone, so you don't need to feel like you need to go into a series, and this story is about Addie Laroo. She's a woman, I believe, who took a deal to live forever, but no one can know who she is or realizes she's there, so she's invisible to everyone else. And I believe at one point someone notices her and her whole life changes. So that is what this story is about. This is a historical fiction also, so this is kind of like the same vibe as Divine Rivals. So if you liked the vibe of historical fantasy, you'll really like this one. So I'm quite excited. I am finding out that I am more of a historical fantasy girl. I do love that aesthetic, the old 1940s feel, 1930s. I love the clothing style from that. I wish we could go back to that. I feel it was so classy. The music was good, like courtships, all of that. I love the aesthetic, so I can't wait to jump into that kind of world with this. So found this at half price. Great find. Can't wait to read it. Another book I picked up was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This has blown up. Everyone says you need to read this. It's a book that a lot of people I'm sure have on their TBRs and never read it. I'm sure a lot of people say, oh my gosh, you have to read it. It was so good. I will now add this to my mythology shelf. I have lore. I have Ariadne. and now I have the Song of Achilles. I think at this point I'm going to slowly try and collect all of them. All of the new Greek mythology-esque books. I hear you will literally cry. I don't think I've had a really good tear-jerker since Happy Place, so we'll have a competitor for sure to see how that goes. But yeah, cool. And then the last book I picked up was Yours Truly by Addie Jimenez. I have not read a single Addie Jimenez book. She, I hear, is absolutely amazing in the romance world. She does a really good job about portraying mental health, but in a good way, not like oversaturated. It doesn't make you feel down about it. She just kind of puts normal people in really good situations for books. I don't even think I worded that right. She writes rom-coms, but has real life problems that rom-coms don't have. You know when you watch like a Hallmark movie and you just see the plot and it's like so convoluted and it doesn't make any sense, but you just enjoy it because it's a nice romance and it's a rom-com? Well, you put that in, but then you add Addie Jimenez, who writes it apparently a million times better. So that's just me hearing from other people though. She always puts dogs on her covers. Look how cute that is. And what is that? Saint Bernard, maybe? I believe this is about, obviously, these two characters, but I think he's a doctor and she just joined the same hospital he is working at, and they write letters to each other. I actually don't know what this book is about. All I know is that it's a workplace romance and he's a doctor and she works at the same hospital as him. I think that's it. That's all I know. But I'm very excited. I like having a nice little cheesy rom-com book in between a whole bunch of fantasies. They're really good mental breaks, I feel, from like any sort of fantasy novel you're reading. I think that's it. Well, that was our last book haul of the year. I'm kind of sad that book buying is over, but you know what? I think I'm probably going to be putting myself on a book buying ban, and I really need to get my physical TBR under control. We will definitely be doing a wrap up of this year of how many books I've read and what books I have on my shelves and my goals. Anyway though, thank you guys so much for watching this book haul. I had a lot of fun shopping with you guys. I had a lot of fun talking about these books with you. Don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff, which is like, follow, and subscribe. And I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!